All right, folks, we have another update in the saga surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and how his administration has handled this all. And the New York Times just dropped a pretty major piece of information in all of this, which is Trump's administration has reviewed over 100,000 documents, 100,000 related to Jeffrey Epstein and his case, and they are purposefully not releasing the documents. They could do so right now. A lot of the sensitive information surrounding victims or witnesses, whoever, has already been redacted and reviewed many different times. But the Trump administration is saying, no, we will not be releasing these documents. I want to get into this article by the New York Times, give you this update. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So many amazing new people are joining us here. Drop a like on the video, comment some blue hearts, some American flags, and let's dive in. This is the article from the New York Times, how a frantic scouring of the Epstein files consumed the Justice Department. This spring, the FBI and the DOJ made an all-out push involving hundreds of employees to scour the Jeffrey Epstein files with a single goal in mind: find something, anything that could be released to the public to satisfy the mounting clamor from the angry legions of Donald Trump's supporters. So they actually went into this not with the goal of transparency, but with the goal of protecting Donald Trump from his own MAGA fans who were demanding that these documents be released. And at the end of the day, it all completely backfired on them because MAGA is still furious. But after devoting countless hours to the project, working at times around the clock, searching databases, hard drives, network drives, cabinets, desks, and closets, the Bureau and the department finally acknowledged this month that they had little to show for their efforts. And they came to realize, for instance, that there was no specific client list, which previous investigators had known years ago. And that is, of course, what they said in the original statement that they put out, the FBI, the DOJ signed on, that really kicked all of this off. Now, I want to get into the meat of this article, this little piece of information that was included farther down, but still very important. Then, in early March, the FBI's Record Information Dissemination Section in Virginia, that was a mouthful, was ordered to process more than 100,000 pages in the Epstein files for public disclosure. So this was part of their effort to satisfy the MAGA fans. Basically, just process all these documents, get them ready for public release. And Donald Trump and his administration were, of course, not doing that to be honest with the people, but just to satisfy the base. But the files were littered with data that was not supposed to become public, such as personal identifying information, grand jury material, information protected under the Pen Register Act and the National Security Act, and of course, information prohibited from disclosure under the Child Victims and Child Witnesses Act. And then after this, on Friday, March 14th, for instance, the FBI heightened its efforts to go through all these documents by bringing in hundreds of people from the New York field office to assist those in the records section to sift through all of these documents over the weekend. But even with the increased workforce, the team was able to clear only about 900 documents for release by that Tuesday. So they were moving very slowly, obviously, because it's really hard to go through all of these documents. Yet the Trump administration was just saying, hey, we got to go through all of these incredibly quickly. Then, after the FBI finished its review of the files, the materials were handed over to a team of dozens of Justice Department lawyers who were given the job of double-checking the Bureau's redactions to ensure that neither too much nor too little was disclosed, according to a person familiar with the process. The lawyers drawn from multiple divisions from within the department sat at their desks beginning in late March or early April, reviewing documents for the better part of 2 weeks. The process was led by officials in Mr. Blanche's office who set a grueling pace and urged the lawyers to work as quickly as they could. But by mid-April, the department's review had largely been completed. Not long afterwards, Pam Bondi then told Donald Trump the status of the files, including revealing to him that his name was mentioned in them, according to reports, at least multiple times. It remains unclear how significant the references to Trump were, and simply being mentioned in the files is not an indication of wrongdoing. And of course, people connected to Donald Trump said that any suggestion that the president was engaged in wrongdoing is fake news, the same excuse that they've released for all of these different claims that have been made by the Trump administration. So they are currently sitting on hundreds of thousands of documents related to Epstein. They've reviewed all of them. They've gone through all of the information to ensure that victims are being protected, that witnesses are being protected, that sensitive people in the case are being protected. These documents could be released to the public right now. The Trump administration is saying, no, They are deliberately refusing to release these documents to the public. And this reporting comes at an interesting time because today, at the time of filming this, we learned that top DOJ officials had met with Ghislaine Maxwell in Florida. Ghislaine Maxwell is, of course, Epstein's co-conspirator, and the top DOJ official who met with her is Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's former defense attorney, the guy who defended him in the New York criminal case against him, which is a little bit of a conflict of interest, I would say. But according to CBS News, he's the second highest ranking Justice Department official. They met in Tallahassee. David Oscar Marcus, Maxwell's lawyer, declined to comment on the substance of the meeting, so we actually don't know what was spoken about, which we'll address in just a second, but told reporters outside of the office that there were a lot of questions and we went all day, and she answered every one of them. She never did say, I'm not going to answer, never declined. This is the first time that the government has asked questions, so we were thankful that the Deputy Attorney General came and asked her questions. It's the first time the government did it, so it was a good day. And then other reporting from Caitlin Collins and outlets are confirming that there's going to be another day of meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell tomorrow, and Caitlin Collins quoted the attorney on a separate occasion saying, looking forward to another productive day. Ghislaine honestly answered every question that Mr. Blanche asked, and she will continue to do so. We are grateful that the government is trying to uncover the truth. They've never spoken with her, so we trust the process. So the Trump DOJ, while we're learning that they're sitting on hundreds of thousands of documents that they could release right now, is meeting with Epstein's co-conspirator, somebody who is also, of course, friends with Donald Trump. And this whole secret meeting that the DOJ is having with Ghislaine Maxwell has raised a lot of eyebrows, rightfully so, not only because of the possible conflict of interest of Trump's own former defense attorney leading these meetings, but also people have pointed some things out about Ghislaine. For example, Midas Touch cited her sentencing memo, and this paragraph is really important about who Ghislaine Maxwell is. Quote, taken together with the defendant's perjury in her civil deposition, her lies to pretrial services, and her blatant lies about her own weight while in BOP custody, the court can fairly reject many of the defendant's complaints about her conditions of confinement. Simply put, the defendant lies when it suits her. So a relentless pathological liar, and now she's meeting with the second top official at Trump's Department of Justice. And we're already seeing this concerning trend in MAGA where they're almost trying to rewrite history about who Ghislaine Maxwell is, trying to basically rehabilitate her character for some reason. We just saw last night on Newsmax that host Greg Kelly referred to Ghislaine Maxwell as a victim, not a perpetrator of horrible things to vulnerable communities and vulnerable people, but as a victim. Just take a look at what Greg Kelly said on Newsmax last night. Genuinely stunned me when I saw it.
And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be.
What?
There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail.
What? Apparently not good? Apparently that's not good. Are you kidding me? This is insane. He's actually trying to rehabilitate the character of somebody who has committed and assisted in heinous crimes against, as I mentioned, very vulnerable people. And so putting this clip together with the fact that Trump's DOJ is meeting with her and MAGA is almost like defending Ghislaine Maxwell, it just makes everything very weird. And I do want to end here with what Brian Krasenstein said on X or Twitter today about this whole thing, and it makes you think. He said, according to multiple reports, Ghislaine Maxwell answered every question in the meeting with the DOJ. Just watch. Trump will pardon her, and then she will publicly claim Trump barely knew Epstein. Now, again, I want to reiterate, we don't do conspiracy theories on this show. It's just not something we do. We based our opinions on fact. But we are dealing with Donald Trump and his Department of Justice. It would not surprise me if Donald Trump is trying to work a shady deal behind the scenes to maybe reduce Ghislaine Maxwell's sentence if, she comes out and says, oh, Donald Trump was never near Epstein, they never hung out, kind of something like that. It just wouldn't surprise me if that's Donald Trump's goal. So look, a lot of updates here with this whole Epstein story. I just had to show you this really important article from the New York Times about the amount of files that the Trump administration is currently sitting on, but I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, Let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.